What's up, guys? Today we got a bracketology. It's been a little bit since we've had one, so I'm looking forward to making today's because right now we're less than a month to Selection Sunday. So a lot has happened since we've had a bracketology. With that being said, let's jump into it. So to start off, we got UConn and Southern. I think with no brainer, we got UConn here. Player playing better than anyone in college basketball right now. And now we got FAU versus TCU. And this is a good 8-9 matchup. This is one that could go either way. FAU's had, kind of a roller coaster of a season, coming off a loss to South Florida on Sunday. In a game where South Florida really shot the ball well. And then TCU's having a really nice season too. But I like the potential for FAU a little more. This same squad, we went to the Final Four last year. They are really up and down, so it's hard to gauge. But I think I like FAU to get one win here and to get to the next weekend. All right, now we got Wisconsin, Indiana State. I think this would be a 12-5 that many people would pick the upset here, just because Wisconsin is really, really struggling lately. Indiana State's also coming off 2 straight losses, so both these teams are struggling a little bit. But I feel like it'd be the trendy 12-5, but I'm going to roll the dice with it as well, just because I think you got Avila, the goggled man for Indiana State. He's fun to watch. And I just think Wisconsin sometimes they just struggle to score the ball. I think that their offense is just lethargic at times, and they go through big droughts, and that's not good in March at all to have big scoring droughts like that. So I think I like Indiana State here to pull off our first upset of the bracket. Okay, now we got Auburn, Appalachian State. Auburn just coming off a loss to Kentucky. This is still a good Auburn team. The Auburn team that I'm more confident in this year than I have been in years past. This is a better Auburn team than they've had. Their guard plays better. They play with I like the tenacity that Auburn plays with. It is impressive. There's only a few other schools that really rival that, just like intensity that they play with. Houston's one of them. Iowa State's another one. But it is fun to watch Auburn. I like this Auburn team, so I'm going to go Auburn over Appalachian State. And now in this next one, Colorado State versus Seton Hall or Ole Miss. When it comes to Seton Hall, Ole Miss, I could see that going either way. I really could. I'm going to go. I think the winner of that game has a real good shot to upset Colorado State. I like this Colorado State team. I'm a huge fan of Isaiah Stevens, one of my favorite guards in the country, and one of the best point guards in the country. But this just feels like that 11-6 upset right here to me. If you guys remember a couple years ago, Colorado State got upset in the 6-11 game to Michigan. This feels similar to me, this type of game. I think Ole Miss or Seton Hall comes out on top and beats Colorado State, especially if they're able to limit Isaiah Stevens and not let them pick them apart, which I think these teams would game plan for. And now we got Iowa State and Vermont. Iowa State's playing fantastic. Coming off a loss yesterday to Houston, but you can't really knock them for going on the road and hanging tough with Houston. So this is still an incredible Iowa State team. Just the way they defend so well. I think that obviously that travels well in March. And this is an Iowa State team that actually has a fair bit of offense still now, especially with like the emergence of Curtis Jones this past month. He's been great off the bench. He's been scoring the ball. Keyshawn Gilbert's been great. So, and obviously Tamine Lipsey's been really good too. So I like Iowa State here. Even though Vermont is always a threat to pull off an upset, they always are in that discussion for an upset. I think Iowa State is going to get it done. Now we got Florida, Nevada. This is one I could see really going either way. But I can see it going. Florida's playing really good basketball lately. They are. I like Nevada's experience, though. Even though Nevada, and maybe as far as talent goes, you could argue that Florida's a little more talented. I like Nevada's experience. They were in the tournament last year. Got knocked out in the play-in game. Didn't play great. I think they're going to play better this year in the tournament. I think they're gonna have redemption on their mind, especially Jared Lucas and Keenan Blackshear. I think they're going to want it pretty bad. So I'm going to go with Nevada there. Now we got UNC and Colgate. Colgate's another one of those teams that always finds themselves in the tournament, but I think Baycott and Ingram, it's just going to be too much size, too much length. It's going to be too much for Colgate. All right, we're just going to go round one, all of round one first, and then we'll go like that. Okay, so now we got Arizona versus Norfolk State or North Dakota. Arizona shouldn't have problems with either of these teams. We saw Arizona lose to Princeton last year in the 215 game. That was a really talented Princeton team, though. So I don't see that happening again. Maybe Arizona keep it close for a second, but I think they'll pull away. Now we got Oklahoma and Boise State. This is an intriguing 8-9 game. Both teams play pretty good defense. Boise State plays really good defense. Boise State, I think, has like 5 or 6 quad one wins now. So they have a lot of good wins on the year. They've played a pretty tough, solid schedule. Oklahoma, I'm never like wowed away by them, but they are solid. They're just a solid, balanced squad. So I could go either way, but I'm going to go Boise State. I like their defense. Boise State has not had a tournament win. I think this is the year, because this is the 3rd straight year of them making the tournament. I think this is the year they get over the hump and they can get one. Okay, so now we got Clemson, Samford. This is a less intriguing 5-12 game. I just feel like Clemson's a tough matchup for a lot of mid-major schools just because they have some tough guys to guard like PJ Hall. And they have good length, and I think it can be a little bit tougher for mid-majors. So I'm going to go with Clemson here. Now we got Creighton and UC Irvine. We have seen Creighton play down in the competition at times, things like that. But when Creighton is really clicking, they got a squad that can win a national championship. I'm actually super excited for their game tonight against UConn, because this is a team that I really think they have a good chance to beat UConn tonight, obviously, and which is the best team in the land. And this Creighton team, they really, when they're clicking, they have what it takes to win it all. They're fun to watch. They're one of my favorite teams to watch. They do play down in the competition. UC Irvine's always a threat to pull off an upset in March, but I'm going to go Creighton here. I like the potential that Creighton has to make it deep in this tournament. Experience, shooting, height, length. They really got all the things you want to see out of a team that can win it all. So they haven't, a little bit of inconsistency at times this year, though. Okay, now we got BYU, Texas A&M. Texas A&M is on the flip side from Creighton, or kind of like Creighton. Is also very inconsistent, but they've also dealt with a lot of injuries this year. Radford was out for a while. I think Coleman was out for a bit there too. So this is a team that's also dealt with injuries. I like BYU here. BYU is another team that I think if they get hot at the right time has the potential to be able to make a run in March. So I like BYU's potential a little more than Texas A&M. BYU shoots the ball really well. They run an NBA style offense, and they're a fun team to watch. So I'm gonna go BYU over A&M. Duke versus Charleston. I think Duke gets by College of Charleston probably fairly easily. Now we got South Carolina, New Mexico. This is a pretty intriguing 7-10 game because we know about the guards. New Mexico's got a plethora of guards. You got Donovan Dent, who's been absolutely fantastic. Mashburn and Jalen House they're good guards as well. They're a bit on the inefficient side. They both shoot, I think, under 40%. But when they get it going, they can be really fun too. So you can't really key in on one guy on this New Mexico team. And I like good guards for March. I think having good, reliable guards is important. I would like to see New Mexico's guards be a little more efficient. Donovan Dent is extremely efficient. I think he shoots like 52% from the floor. House and Mashburn need to be a little better down the stretch. But I like New Mexico here. South Carolina's had a fantastic season, really exceeded expectations. But I think I like New Mexico to get that done. Now we got Kansas versus Eastern Washington. This one, we've seen Kansas, Eastern Washington face off a couple times in the last few years in the tournament. Even though this is not a great Kansas team compared to some years, definitely Kansas here. And Purdue versus Eastern Kentucky versus Merrimack. Don't think Purdue is going to lose to a 16 again. Texas, Virginia, this is a coin flip game. You could pick this apart in a bunch of different ways. You could say Beekman, maybe he's going to shut down A. Smith, but then you could say Tyrese Hunter is going to shut down. You can shut down Beekman. So there's two good. I like some of the individual matchups here because Reese Beekman's one of the best perimeter defenders in the country. Tyrese Hunter's one of the best perimeter defenders in the country. Max A. Smith, he's a flamethrower. He can really get going. So I like this matchup for several reasons, but I don't have a good feel on where I think it could go. I'm going to go with Virginia, though, just from I believe in Tony Bennett a little bit more, even though Virginia has struggled in March. I like Tony as a coach, and so I'm going to go with Virginia in that one. Now we got Kentucky, South Florida. South Florida's got some dogs. They got some guys. I was watching the game on Sunday against Florida Atlantic, and they got some guys that can really shoot the ball. Selton Miguel off the bench, he can really shoot it. Youngblood, he's a shooter. So this is one that we know Kentucky's had some struggles in March lately, and they've also been kind of an inconsistent team. They're coming off a great win at Auburn. That was a fantastic win. So good job by Kentucky for that. But I like the 12/5 here, South Florida. I think the way they shoot the ball, I think they got a chance. I really think they could. I think they have the potential to pull off an upset in March because, if you got guys that can really get hot like that for a game, you can really do anything. Now we got San Diego State and Akron. I like San Diego State here. Akron, I know, is having a really good year. I don't know too much about their team. I know they got that big guy, Enrique Freeman, I think, and I know he's tough, but I think San Diego State's got the guys like Ledee to be able to defend him and kind of limit him. Now we got St. Mary's versus Grand Canyon. St. Mary's playing real good ball. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of them. Dominating the West Coast Conference right now. So let's go with St. Mary's. Now we got Baylor versus Oakland. This is the one, when I briefly looked this before I filmed, I was like, this is the one, if I'm going to see a big upset in this video, I think this is what we see with this bracket, because Oakland played tough teams already this year. They know what it's like to play some of the upper level teams. They've played Illinois. They've played, I wouldn't call Ohio State maybe upper level, but they played Ohio State tough. They beat Xavier. So this is a team that's played, Power 5 teams and hung with all of them. And Baylor, relies heavily on the 3-ball. Now, they normally shoot the 3-ball at a really high clip. But I'm going to go, I like the upset here. We need a big upset. It's March Madness. We're bound to see a few big ones. And so I think Oakland definitely has a good chance to do that. Now we got Utah State, Nebraska. Super interesting game again. Utah State is a fun team to watch. Nebraska is also a fun team to watch. You got Tommy Naga. You got Mast, the big man for Nebraska. This is a fun 7-10 matchup, actually. I'd really like to see this one. Just like Boise State getting their first win, I want to see Nebraska get their first win in the tournament. So I'm gonna go with Nebraska here. Now, maybe just because I want to see it, but that's what I'm gonna pick. Let's go Tennessee and Quinnipiac. Tennessee for sure. Now we got Houston versus Sam Houston. That's kind of funny that they're facing Houston, and should be a blowout. Washington State Northwestern. Now, this one's going to be a battle. This one should be a good battle, but I think this tournament is an opportunity for Boo Buie to become a college basketball legend. He's one of the guys that can get hot and take over a game more than anybody in the whole country. I think we're going to see a Boo Buie show in this game versus Washington State. I like what Washington State's done this year. Wazoo's having a great year, but I think it's going to be a Boo Buie show, and I think he's got a chance to go down as a legend in March this year. He's that type of player, especially when he gets going. Now we got Dayton and McNeese State. McNeese State, Will Wade's doing a good job with them. They're having a good year, but I like Dayton. I like Dayron Holmes here. He's an NBA level talent. He's a guy that can take over a game when you need him to, averaging 19 and 8, I think, on the year. So I'm going to go Dayton here. And now we got Illinois and Yale. Illinois, last time we filmed, Illinois was still dealing with the Terrence Shannon stuff, and now he's fully back. He's going to be back the rest of the year, which is big, especially being an Illinois fan. And so I like Illinois. Their potential, they're another team. Illinois's got a lot of potential this year. They got a lot of threats. They're an experienced team. A lot of 5th-year guys on this team with Domask and Shannon, and Coleman's a 4th-year guy, but they're a good experienced team. Guerrier, 5th-year guy. I like Illinois here. Now we got Texas Tech versus Butler, Gonzaga. I lean towards Gonzaga beating Butler in the play-in game. And then, to me, if Gonzaga gets in to the tournament, I think not that I think they're going to go on some deep run, but I definitely think they have enough. They're not deep, so they can't get into foul trouble. But they have the talent where I think they could pull off an upset. So I'm going Gonzaga over Butler and then Gonzaga over Texas Tech. Now we got Alabama and High Point. Alabama, super fun brand of basketball. Takes only threes and layups. I saw a shot chart the other day, and it was just literally, it was just straight layups or threes. And, that's modern basketball, really, and they epitomize that more than any other team. They're fun to watch, and so I'm going to go Bama here. I shouldn't struggle against High Point too much. Michigan State, Mississippi State. I like Mississippi State's defense, but man, it's hard to bet against Michigan State in March. They almost always perform. So I'm gonna go with what history tells me, and that's to pick Michigan State here. Now we got Marquette, Morehead State. I could see Marquette struggling in the first half of this game, actually, but we're gonna go Marquette. Okay, now let's go back over to and do round 2 here. Now we got UConn and FAU. I like FAU, but they don't have the size at all, especially if Golden gets into any foul trouble. They don't have the size to deal with UConn. I don't think many teams really can hang with UConn right now. I think UConn's definitely a cut above the rest. Houston and Purdue are in that conversation, but UConn's definitely a cut above the rest right now. So let's go UConn to win that one. Indiana State, Auburn. I like Auburn still. This is a good Auburn team. This is the best looking Auburn team I've seen in a while, probably since the Final Four team, even though they've debatably had better teams. But now we got Iowa State versus Seton Hall or Ole Miss. I'm gonna say we'll say Ole Miss wins the play-in game. I think Iowa State is just overall a better team. They defend better. They turn the ball over less. They're just solid. They're a solid team. Chris Beard did a fantastic job in year 1, but I'm going Iowa State here. And now we got Nevada, UNC. This is it's kind of an interesting game, but I don't know. I don't think Nevada has the talent level of UNC here. I think especially in the interior, I think Baycott and Ingram again. I think this is a good draw for UNC. I think they can get by Nevada no problem. Now we're gonna stick in in this region. Finish this one out. UConn, Auburn. This would be a good test for UConn here. It would be. I think Auburn has some things that could trick UConn up. I'm still leaning towards UConn in a close one though. I think UConn can get by. Now we got Iowa State and UNC. This is a fantastic matchup. This would just be beautiful to see this. But I'm going Iowa State over UNC. I've been sold on Iowa State now for quite a while. I really like this Iowa State team. They don't have a ton of guys that can just get their own bucket, but they have enough. You got Lipsey, Gilbert, and then Jones. They have enough, and they have enough dogs, and the people know their roles. I just like this Iowa State team. So I'm going Iowa State over North Carolina, which sets us up UConn, Iowa State. I think this is where we could see UConn go down, is like in the Elite 8 range, maybe even Sweet 16, but I think they could definitely go down here. But UConn, I've been a firm believer off the rip. They should have been number 1 to start the year. I've been saying that since the year started. So I'm going UConn to beat Iowa State, but I think it would be beautiful. It'll be a beautiful game. All right, so now let's move down to Arizona versus Boise State. I think Boise State's got the defense to make this game close, especially if you can force Caleb Love into thinking he needs to be the superstar and just taking wild shots and kind of let him beat himself. But Arizona's got enough other good players. I think Arizona gets by. Now we got Clemson and Creighton. This is a good game. I just believe in Creighton's potential more. They have a more complete team. So let's go Creighton. Now BYU and Duke. This is a fascinating game. This is a good game, but I think we're gonna see a little upset here, and just the way BYU shoots the ball. I just think BYU shoots the ball. BYU, they're coming off a 10-point loss to Oklahoma State, but that's on the road, and it's hard to do anything on the road this year. And so I'm going upset here, BYU over Duke. The way they shoot it is just, I don't know, it's fun to watch. Now we got New Mexico and Kansas. I think this is a good draw for Kansas. It's a little chalky on this side of the bracket, but trust me, upsets are coming. I got a little bit chalky over here, but I like Kansas again to win this one. And I think this is overall just a favorable draw for Kansas, but I think it ends here. We got BYU. I think BYU matches up actually quite well with Kansas. They play coming up, I think, just like in the next week or two. So we can see this matchup and see how it goes. And maybe I'll be completely wrong. Maybe I'll change my mind completely when they play. But I like BYU to pull off the upset here and beat Kansas. Now we got Arizona and Creighton. I'm going to be honest with you, it's hard to believe in Creighton in March. It's very hard. or it's hard to, I think I might have said that wrong. It's hard to believe in Arizona in March. They don't have the best track record, and this Arizona team, they're talented, but they haven't done enough to alleviate my concerns. I actually, even though I said Creighton's inconsistent at times, I just believe in them more as a team actually than I do Arizona. So I'm going Creighton to beat BYU, or Creighton to beat Arizona, and then I'm gonna have Creighton beat BYU to set up a Big East Final Four here between UConn and Creighton. The game we see tonight, which I did not think it was going to set up like that, but these are two teams I'm super high on. I think the Big East at the top is fantastic. So we're setting up a Big East Final Four, two teams that there's just so much to like with both these teams. Now we got Purdue and Virginia. Virginia's got that type of defense to make this game, to make it a kind of a lower scoring, ugly game. Purdue has struggled in March. I'm gonna go with Purdue to get by this one, but I'm not sure. And then we got South Florida and San Diego State. San Diego State coming off the championship last year. I'm gonna say it's over early for them. They're not making out the first weekend. South Florida, and kind of a crazy Cinderella story because no one is expecting South Florida to be this good. First year coach Abdul Rahim coming in. They've been fantastic this year. Maybe it's recency bias since I've seen them play the other day. They're one of the hottest teams in college basketball right now, though. So South Florida to upset San Diego State there. Now we got St. Mary's and Oakland. I think St. Mary's, Oakland, no Cinderella run for you. St. Mary's gets by. Now we got Nebraska, Tennessee. Tennessee is one of those teams. I mean, Tennessee's got to be the best 2 seed and probably, like, to me, the second or third most likely team to win it all. So with that being said, I'm going Tennessee. Then we got Tennessee, St. Mary's. I just don't know if St. Mary's has enough like firepower to get by this Tennessee team. In years past, you didn't need a ton of firepower to get by Tennessee at sometimes just because they themselves would struggle to score the ball. They had big scoring droughts. That's not the case this year with this Tennessee team. They have scores. They have experience. This is just a different built Tennessee team. So I got Tennessee beating St. Mary's to get to the Elite Eight. Setting up a matchup versus Purdue, because I think Purdue will get by South Florida. And then, I don't know, I like this Tennessee team more than I like Purdue. I think they have a better chance to win it all. I just think the way they play is just a little more flexible. It isn't as dependent on a couple factors like Purdue is. Now, Purdue's guard play has been much better this year, so don't get me wrong. They got a good chance to get, to go far in March. But I just like this. I just believe in this Tennessee team a little more than I do Purdue at this point. Even though Purdue has done what they need to do, one of the best teams in the country. Now we got Houston versus Northwestern. And man, part of me wants to pull the craziness just with Boo Buie here. And we don't have a 1 seed going out early. And you almost always see that. So this is right. I said the legend of Boo Buie. And I believe we could see the legend of Boo Buie this March. And that's something I really want to see and I believe in. So we're going Northwestern upset over Houston. He's one of the most exciting players to me in college basketball. So let's go with Boo Buie and Northwestern. Now we got Dayton versus Illinois. This is an intriguing 4-5 matchup. Almost kind of feels like that Illinois-Houston matchup from a couple of years ago that Illinois lost as a 4 seed. I think this Illinois team's different though than that team. They're a little more versatile. They're experienced. They were experienced then too, but I don't know, the way that Terrence Shannon puts so much pressure on a defense, Damask just playing bully ball down low on the guards. I just think it's a tough match for Dayton's guards. Illinois is an extremely tall team across the board. Usually the tallest guy they play is 6'6". And then Harmon comes off the bench and he's like 6'4". So Illinois' height, I think, would be a struggle for Dayton. Now we got Gonzaga versus Bama. This is a fun game. I think both these teams can get up and down. They can score a lot of points. I'm gonna go Bama though. Gonzaga has not been like that team this year. They're playing better of late, but they barely have any good wins on the year. The Kentucky win is like their only big time win the whole year. So I'm gonna go with Bama because they've actually played an extremely tough schedule and they've won a lot of good games. Now I got Michigan State and Marquette setting up another 7-2 2 matchup between these teams, which we saw last year, and we saw Michigan State pull off the upset, which was kind of crazy. I don't feel like we're going to see this exact same game and then the exact same upset happens. And Kolek is one of my favorite players in the country, so let's go with Marquette. And then Bama versus Marquette. This is a fun game. The way Bama plays scares me, though. I have a hard time just because it is so reliant on the 3 ball that you can slip up. And I think Marquette's a team that can take advantage well against a team like that that's jacking up so many threes. So give me Marquette over Bama here. I just think they're a little more solid across the board. Now we got Northwestern and Illinois. And so we got a Big Ten matchup here. I think this would be a real fun game. It'd be close. But I'm wearing the Illinois shirt. I'm talking about legend of Boo Buie here. And so we're gonna say Boo Buie, classic performance. He did this against Illinois like 3 weeks ago too. He put up like 30. And so we're going Northwestern to the Elite Eight, which is kind of crazy to think about, Northwestern in the Elite Eight, but it could happen. I know we got Marquette, Northwestern. The run, I think, ends here for Boo Buie. He doesn't get a chance to showcase himself in March, so we're going Marquette. Oops. Marquette. Okay. So we have 3 Big East teams. I don't like that happened. I don't like that we have 3 Big East teams. So we're changing it. Northwestern over Marquette. And this is where the legend of Boo Buie just gets crazy. It's just crazy. I think this type of year we're gonna see a random. It might not be Northwestern. It could be one of like 25 teams. I think we're gonna see a crazy run by someone, just because the parity in college basketball is so great this year that I just think we're gonna see a random team that there's really not an explanation for it just go on a wild run to the Final Four. And so, you know, Northwestern's going to be our example here because they have an elite shot-making guard, and they also got other guys around like Barry and stuff like that. But Northwestern's kind of an example, I think, of a type A team, you know, that can make a crazy run in March this year, just because there's going to be some random low-seed team, I think, that goes far. All right, but Tennessee, Northwestern, I definitely think Tennessee would win that game. I think they'd actually win it by like 10 or 15. I think they'd win it pretty easily. Now we got UConn versus Creighton. I can't wait till we see this game tonight because I think we can see how it plays out a little better. We saw this game the other day at UConn. We saw it and UConn won, but now we get to see it at Creighton tonight. So I'm excited to see that, but I think UConn's the better team. Or I don't think, they are the better team, and I think they'll be the better team on this night. Setting up a matchup versus, a lot of people think these are the 2 best teams. So there's a good chance we don't get to see it, but it would be a fun national championship if we do. Tennessee, UConn, a chance for UConn to win back-to-back championships, or the chance for Tennessee to they already would have broken like barriers that they've never passed before, but this would be a chance for Rick Barnes to really solidify his like legacy too. This would be a legacy thing for Rick Barnes. And man, how fun. You get to see Dalton Connect battling it out against Cam Spencer. And then you get to have Zakai Ziegler and Vescovy, and I mean, this would just be cinema. But I'm gonna go. I don't think we're gonna see back-to-back champs. As good as I think UConn is, I think Tennessee is almost just as good. And I don't think we're gonna see back-to-back champs. So I got Tennessee winning it all and winning the national championship. So that's what we got today, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Almost had 3 Big East teams in the Final Four. I definitely believe in UConn and Creighton more than I do Marquette. It almost shook out that way. But I like Northwestern going to the Final Four because I think some like 8, 9, 10 seeds going to do that this year. That's what I'm feeling. Maybe even 11 again. Who knows? But I had a lot of fun making this. I'm going to try to get back to making them like once a week again. Maybe making some picks and prediction videos too soon. So it's March, baby, or it's getting close to March. Hope you guys are enjoying February basketball. Late February college basketball is a lot of fun. So I appreciate it, guys. Like and comment if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.